Okay.
So if I don't look at you and say, hey, we're starting now, it's just because
Are you introducing me, or do I just stand up and start talking?
I'll introduce you.
Okay. So then I'll know we're starting. How's that? Is that okay? Is this all right? Is that okay?
Yeah, that looks right.
Okay. And then should I put this a little further around?
Totally up to you.
Where's the meat?
There you go. It's you.
Will the lights be on this bright? Because this is good. I was afraid I wasn't going to be able to see. So.
Yeah.
Okay, good.
Take a deep breath. Here we go. You ready? הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברקים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברקים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב, הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברקים גם יחד. טוב ומנעים שברקים גם יחד. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. How good it is, how sweet it is to be together on this day. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברקים גם יחד. הנה מה טוב ומנעים שברקים גם יחד. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
There's a really good vibe in the room, and I hope you can feel it out there in Cyberland. It's Boardwalk Shabbat. You can almost hear the ocean waves crashing against the shore. Tonight our guest speaker will be Ali Glazer. She's here not only as our darshan, our speaker, but also representing our temple board. She'll be giving the announcements and thanking the folks for offerings. But before I rush into all of that, I want to invite you, because Shabbat is coming, because Shabbat is almost here, we want to just say goodbye to the busyness of the rest of the week. We've been working hard all week, and now Shabbat is arriving, and Shabbat surrounds us. If we can take just a moment to inhale a little bit of Shabbat, to start the process of relaxing for the next 25 or so hours. Shabbat arrives, and we have a different sort of a busyness about us. It's not the workaday, mundane stuff that we do during the week, but a little bit more of a special task that we have to enjoy the creation of the world and to celebrate not only our relationship with God, but also to celebrate someone who tomorrow morning is going to become bat mitzvah, and we'll invite her and her family up in a moment to light the Shabbat candles. But first, let's take a moment just to welcome Shabbat and to thank the people who have made it possible for us to be here tonight.
Thank you, Kanarwali. Good evening. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
It is a pleasure to be with you all this evening to share some of the exciting events and activities that we have coming up this week here at Shari Emet. This Sunday, we have, as part of our adult education and lifelong learning series, an informative session on ethical wills led by Rabbi Philip Baisley. And this event will be on Zoom, so please register on our temple's website. The Sisterhood's Mahjong series is back. It's very popular. It's Thursdays at 7 p.m. in person here at the temple. We'd like to ask you to please consider donating blood for our temple's blood drive, which will be Thursday, the 10th of February, beginning at 3:30. And tomorrow will be our Saturday morning minyan at 10 a.m., and there will be Torah study this Wednesday at 11 with Rabbi Penkin, and Saturday the 12th at 9 a.m. Details for all of these events and more details can be found at shariemeth.org. And I want to wish the LaRue family a mazel tov on the bat mitzvah of Sydney, and I also want to especially thank them for their very generous donation of a cotton candy machine, which we will unveil tonight at the Boardwalk-themed Oneg Shabbat. So mazel tov, Sydney, and to the entire LaRue family. Shabbat shalom. So I also want to thank those who made donations this week to the temple. It is so important for our temple to receive these donations, and we really, really do appreciate these offerings. So this week, offerings were made in memory of Eugene Paris, Larry Slater, Jerry Geller, Kathleen Lewitt, Lou Levinson, Sonny Schwartz, Gilda Mary Schoenberger. And for the yurt site of Jack Steinberg, Doris Norman, Robert Kessler, Alan Paul Roll, Francis Solish, Dora Engelson, Tilly Sitnick, Mary Yeri, Ilana Schaefer, Howard Siegel, Rose Sanders, Alfred Jacobson, Myrna Wasserman, Lillian Pravda, Danny Kessler, Fran Schneiderman, Bernice Block, Albert Burston, and Bruce A. Barron. Offerings were also made in honor of the bat mitzvah of Samantha Breslow and the birth of Isaac Bernstein Chalian, and the complete and speedy recovery of Glenn Cohen, David Shaw, and Rob Lieberman, and also in appreciation of Cantor Wally, Rabbi Penkin, Jennifer Fessler, and Tamima Grinwald. Thank you, and Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. And it's my pleasure to call forward Sydney and her family to help light the candles in honor of her bat mitzvah tomorrow. You can find that all our prayers, also both on the screen and in your prayer books, which might be under the seat that you're sitting on page 121 with the lighting of the Shabbat candles.
As these Shabbat candles give light to all who behold them, so may we, by our lives, give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of the generations of Israel who have kindled light, so may we, in our own day, be among those who kindle light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav tivanu lahaglik ner shel Shabbat.
Blessed are you, Adonai our God, sovereign of the universe, who hallows us with mitzvot, commanding us to kindle the light of Shabbat.
Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, creator of the fruit of the vine. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, sovereign of the universe, who, finding favor with us, sanctified us with mitzvot. In love and favor, you made the holy Shabbat our heritage as a reminder of the work of creation. As first among our sacred days, it recalls the exodus from Egypt. You chose us and set us apart from the peoples. In love and favor, you have given us your holy Shabbat as an inheritance. Praise to you, Adonai, who sanctifies Shabbat.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen.
Amen. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu v'shabbat kodsho be'ava uvratzon inchilanu zikaron lemase v'reishit Ki hu yom tehila lemikra kodesh, zecher litziad Mitzrayim. Ki vanu vacharta, veotanu kidashta, mikol hamim, v'shabbat kodshecha, ve'ahava uvratzon, hinchaltanu. Baruch atah Adonai, mekadesh ha-Shabbat. Amen. L'chaim.
I am.
On page 127, let's join together. There are days when we seek things for ourselves and measure failure by what we do not gain. On Shabbat, we seek not to acquire, but to share. There are days when we exploit nature as if it were a horn of plenty that can never be exhausted. On Shabbat, we stand in wonder before the mystery of creation. There are days when we act as if we cared nothing for the rights of others. On Shabbat, we remember that justice is our duty and a better world our goal. So we embrace Shabbat, day of rest, day of wonder, day of peace. And speaking of the peace, we ask the peaceful angels. We wish peace upon the Shabbat angels to join us for Shabbat, to bless us with peace. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei Hasharet, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem Leshalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzedchem L'Shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Melech Malchei HaMelachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Page 144, our Chatzi Kaddish. Yigadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah, ve'alma divrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei, v'chayechon v'yomechon, uvchayedecho beit Yisrael, ba'agala, ba'agala, uvizaman kariv, imru, amen. Yehi Shemei Rabbah Mevarach, Le'alam u'la'alamei alamaya, Yitbarach, Yitbarach ve'yishtabach, V'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, V'yithadar v'yit'aleh, V'yithalal Shemei d'kudsha b'richu, Le'ela min kol birchata, V'shirata, tushbichat avnechemata, damiran be'alma, v'imru. Amen. Page 146, our call to worship. If you're able, please rise. La 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 Am I awake? Am I prepared? Are you listening to my prayer? Can you hear my voice? Can you understand? Am I awake? Am I prepared? Baruchu et Adonai HaMevorach. Baruch Adonai HaMevorach le'olam va'ed, le'olam va'ed. La 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 ya la 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 ya 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 la 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 la. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Orei yom v'layla, leil or mipnei Moshe, leil or mipnei Moshe, Moshe mipnei or. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Roll into dark, roll into light. Night becomes day, day turns to night. Page 150. Everlasting love, you offered your people Israel by teaching us Torah and mitzvot, laws and precepts. Therefore, Adonai, our God, when we lie down and when we rise up, we will meditate on your laws and your commandments. We will rejoice in your Torah forever. Day and night we will reflect on them, for they are our life, and doing them lengthens our days. Never remove your love from us. Praise to you, Adonai, who loves your people Israel. Baruch atah Adonai, ohev amo Yisrael. Shall love Adonai, your God, with all your heart, with all your soul, and with all your mind. And these words which I command you on this day shall be upon your heart, shall be upon your heart, and you shall teach them diligently unto your children. You shall speak of them when you sit in your house, when you walk by the way, and when you lie down, and when you rise up, and when you rise up, and you shall bind them for a sign upon your hand, and they shall be for frontlets between your eyes, and you shall write them on the doorposts of your house and upon your gates, and upon your gates, that you may remember and do all of my commandments, and be holy unto your God, unto your God, unto your God. Page, the next page. Page 269, but you can also look at the screen. We worship the power that unites the universe, a promise of harmony for all. Yet that oneness eludes our grasp as imperfection and evil abound. Before our eyes, there is a vision of perfection, order, and goodness. There is evil enough to break the heart, and there is good enough to exalt the soul. When will redemption come? When we grant everyone what we claim for ourselves. Long ago we escaped the tyranny of Egypt. Our people saw the power of the Most High. We learned God's presence redeems time and event, so we celebrate this power that makes for freedom. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi chamocha nedar b'kodesh, norah tehilot oseh peleh, norah tehilot oseh peleh. Malchut na'ra'u v'anecha, u'ki'ayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze Elianu ve'amru, ze Elianu ve'amru, Adonai Meloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai Meloch le'olam va'ed. Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. V'ne'emar ki fada Adonai et Yaakov, וגאלו מיד חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גאל ישראל. We ask God to lie us down for a night of peace, and we use this metaphorically to think of all that we need in life sometimes is just a safe place to rest. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Hamideinu shomereinu l'chaim, Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Hamideinu shomereinu l'chaim. Spread the shelter of your peace over us. Guide us in wisdom, compassion, and trust. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Hamideinu shomereinu l'chaim. Save us for the sake of your name. Shield us from hatred, sorrow, and pain. Hashkivenu Adonai, Eloheinu l'shalom, Hamideinu shomereinu l'chaim. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam, page 162. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Beini uvein b'nei Yisrael, oti leolam, oti leolam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim ve'et haaretz. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. Uvayom hashvi'i Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash, Shabbat vayinafash. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, la'asot et ha-Shabbat lidorotam berit olam. We prepare for Adonai Savatai Tiftach and our Amidah, page 164. Open my eyes to truth, open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love.
Open my eyes to truth. Open my hands to give freely. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Please rise. Adonai sefatai titach, ufi agi tehilatecha. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my heart to love. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei avotenu ve'imotenu Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel chasadim tovim vekonei hakol vezocher chazdei avot ve'imahot umevi gehula livnei v'neihem lema'an shemo be'ahava melech ozer umoshia umagen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Avraham ve'Ezrat Sarah Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai Mechaye hakol atah Rav lehoshia Mashiv haruach u'morid hagashem Mechalkel chaim bechesed Mechaye hakol berachamim rabim Somech noflim verofei cholim, umatir asurim, umkayem emunato lishenei afar. Michamocha ba'al givurot, umido melach, melech memit umchaye umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'eman atah lahachayot hakol Baruch atah Adonai mechaye hakol Atah kadosh v'shimcha kadosh u'kedoshim b'chol yom yehalalucha selah Baruch atah Adonai ha'el hakadosh. Open my eyes to truth, open my hands to give freely, open my lips to good words, to pure words, open my heart to love. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Open my lips to good words, to pure words. Open my heart to love. Open my heart to love. Please be seated. On page 173, let's read together. May these hours of rest and renewal open our hearts to joy and our minds to truth. May all who struggle find rest on this day. May all who suffer find solace. May all who hurt find healing on this day. May all who despair find purpose. May all who hunger find fulfillment on this day. And may we all live in such a way that this day fulfills its promise. Baruch atah Adonai Mekadesh HaShabbat. Page 178. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Hasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Hasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. Shalom Rav al Yisrael Amcha Tasim le'olam. יצאו מלך אדון לכל השלום. יצאו מלך אדון לכל השלום. רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום רב ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. וטוב בעיניך לברך את עמך ישראל בכל עת ובכל שעה בשלומך. ברוך אתה אדוני המברך את עמו ישראל. בשלום רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. שלום 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 רב על ישראל עמך תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. תשים לעולם. We pause for a moment to silent prayer. Imrefi, vegion libi lefanecha. Iyu leratzon imrefi, vegion libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, vegoali. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, vegoali. Iyu leratzon imrefi, vegion libi lefanecha. Iyu leratzon imrefi, vegion libi lefanecha. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, vegoali. Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, Adonai tzuri, vegoali. We always take time to think of those who are ill, those who are in need of healing. We think especially of Glenn Cohen, Daniel and Mindy Minerva, Stephen Rice, Richard Cohen, Jordan Silverman, Brian Roche, Colleen Syatt, Norma Menaker, Jan Gale, Ron Klug, Karen Schiffman-Goldstein, Arlene Schwartz, Allie Glazer, Harriet Domro, Kate Ratner, Adam Aptaker, Grayson Tchaikovsky, Barbara Levino, Michelle Safran, Rich Bowden, Spencer Gray Rothstein, Benita Apple, Brody Scher, Tammy Bowling, Carol Levine, Kira Schwartz, Samuel Finkelstein, Arnold Levine, Jenna Schneller, Bonnie Eskowitz, Nechama Leah, Bert Stillman, Richard Craig, Abe and Rhea Drucker, Alice Schumann, G. Garmel, Linda Esposito, Myra Baskin, George White, Cheryl Herskowitz, David Shore, Auntie Annie, Jared Naratsky, Salvatore Profaci, Jeffrey Cohen, Joel Samet, Jana Vindman, Harriet Marcus. We also think of those afflicted with COVID-19, and we wish for everyone a speedy and quick and full recovery. If there are other names that we'd like to mention, we invite you to do so now. Mishaberach Avotenu v'imotenu, may the one who blessed our ancestors send courage and strength and guidance to all who care for those who are ill. Send speedy recovery and health and happiness and wholeness to those in mind and body and in spirit, to all those who are ill. And let us say, Amen.
Amen.
Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBeracha Neimotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu, Mekor HaBeracha Lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. Our darshan, our teacher for this evening, has volunteered to do so. It's Allie Glazer. We welcome her to give us some wisdom.
Thank you, Cantor. Shabbat Shalom once again. It's truly a pleasure to be with all of you tonight, those here in the sanctuary and all of you who are watching online. Among the incredible number of changes and adaptations to daily life that we've experienced in the past 2 years, our congregation began streaming services so that anyone can watch and participate without entering the sanctuary. This week's Parsha, or Torah portion, Teruma, from the book of Exodus, centers around the building of the Mishkan, or the tabernacle. The tabernacle, a portable place of worship, was designed by God with specific instructions given to Moses about how it was to be constructed and furnished with ritual and sacred objects so that the Jews who were wandering in the desert would have a tent of meeting to host the presence of Adonai and a centerpiece for their worship and activity. Before March of 2020, our congregational worship was centered right here in this room, this beautiful sanctuary with all of its rich symbolism, sacred objects, memorial plaques, and most importantly, the gathering of our community. I, for one, looked forward to meeting up with friends on Friday nights for services and catching up during Unig. Following the traditions we read about in Parsha Terumah, our temple and this sanctuary has traditionally been the centerpiece for our worship and activity, and a place of meeting to host the presence of Adonai. Beginning in 2020 and continuing through the present and certainly into the future, the technology that we've been blessed to utilize decentralizes our worship. Instead of a central meeting place to come together, we intentionally, for our own and others' safety, worshiped apart. While that may have brought feelings of loneliness, separation, and frustration at times, it also brought feelings of community, blessing, and appreciation. For some, it created an even deeper spiritual connection to God, to our community, and to Judaism, as many individuals and families, my own included, began taking part in services and worship on a weekly basis, more so than ever before. Much like the tabernacle, which was designed as a portable place of worship, we too found our worship, even on the high holy days, could be portable. Some of us already knew this and felt this. Many deeply spiritual Jews do not enter the synagogue or sanctuary often and still feel a connection to God, to prayer, and to Judaism. However, many others felt a sense of loss, disconnection when the synagogue was no longer the center of our worship. If we are to connect Parsha Terumah to this unique and extraordinary time in our history, we must consider these questions. Do you feel God's presence, whether you are in the sanctuary or watching services on your couch or elsewhere on your phone? And if so, how do you feel God's presence? What are the signs and symbols that give you the confidence and comfort that God is with you? What sacred objects do you hold dear that symbolize your connection to God, to prayer, to Judaism, and to other members of our community? The Hamsa that I carry around with me reminds me daily that I'm protected by God and also by my mother. May she rest in peace. What have you learned about yourself and your connection to God and Judaism since March of 2020? How will this affect your spiritual and religious practice going forward? When we experience challenging and traumatic events like pandemic, loss, and illness, research on resilience and positive psychology, the extraordinary work of Dr. Martin Seligman, tells us that people typically respond in one of three ways. Some people, those who are least resilient, will unfortunately fall apart. Sadly, they will be forever changed without the ability to rebound. Most people, and I've seen this play out often, will find themselves to be resilient enough to experience the setback and ultimately return to how they were functioning prior to the adverse circumstance. Then, there are those, the most resilient among us, who emerge stronger after experiencing adversity. These individuals are optimists. They use adversity to grow, learn, and develop. They actively search for meaning and for the silver linings, and they find them. They seek opportunities to change the things that they can control, and they are moved to action. They are always asking, what can I learn from this? Rather than, why is this happening? Who comes to mind when you think of these most resilient people in our lives? Which of the three types do you most identify? And what silver linings have you found during these difficult times? These past 2 years have certainly provided adversity for each of us. Individually and as a community, we have experienced and are still experiencing the unimaginable. We've lost, we've grieved, we've changed how and where we work, socialize, gather, shop, and how and where we pray. Often, I long for how it used to be, and on other days, I can barely remember living and working in the pre-pandemic times. I assume, like me, you are growing tired of living through these increasingly difficult days. So I offer you this blessing. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech ha'olam, hanotein la'af koach. Praise to you, our God, Adonai, sovereign of the universe, who gives strength to the weary. This beautiful sanctuary, the presence of God and our beloved community, now extends across the country as we come together each week from wherever and however we choose. In doing so, we have found resilience. We have adapted, we have grown, we have searched for and found silver linings. And I am certain that as individuals and as a community, we will emerge even stronger, and we will continue to feel God's presence no matter where we are. Shabbat Shalom.
Before you sit down, I'd like to invite you over to help open our ark. In the middle of page 586, Aleinu, please rise. Aleinu l'shabeach l'adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer bereshit, shelo asanu kegoye ha'aratzot, velo samanu kemishpechot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkenu kahem, v'gor aleinu kechol hamonam. Vanachnu korim umishtachavim umodim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim hakadosh baruch hu. V'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz Bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad. Please be seated. We think now of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. Tonight we remember especially the 918,000 Americans who have succumbed to COVID-19, over 5,723,000 in the world. We think of those whose families are in Shiva, the 7-day mourning period. Jerry Geller, husband of Adrian, father of Allison Milbrod and Barbara Sanders, brother of Susan Gleckman, grandfather of Billy, Nikki, Ryan, and Daniel. Kathleen Lewitt, mother of Lee Klein, grandfather of Stephanie and Lauren Klein. And those whose families are in Shloshim, the 30-day mourning period, Hazel Corman, Mort Blumenthal, Lois Heller, Larry Slater, Lucy Schachter-Fox, Sonny Schwartz, Daniel Walt. If you're here observing the 7 or 30-day mourning period or the yearly anniversary of a loved one's passing, we invite you to rise if you are comfortable with that, as their name is mentioned. Molly Blank, Bernice Block, Iris Bloom, Albert Burston, Ann Cooper, Harriet Crane, Mildred Daniels, Israel Dickholtz, Meyer Dinitz, Gertrude Fessler, Roberta Freeman, Michelle Stacy Friedman, Charles Garfield, Abraham Goldberg, Arnold Goldner, Robert Greenberg, Minnie Herman, Alan Hinkes, Morris Hochberg, Alfred Jacobson, Mo Kaiser, Gertrude Katz, Daniel Kessler, Robert Kessler, Abraham Kettier, Susan Klein, Louis Koster, Roberta R. Kronstadt, Max Krull, Manya Lederman, Leslie Levenstein, Minnie Lewis, William Lieberman, Benjamin Madoff, Sheldon Mann, Barry Marcus, Saul Martyr, Faye Margulies, Benny Margulies, Doris Norman, Trudy Novick, Gloria Peck, Andrea Peters, Martin Plower, Flora Papel, Lillian Pravda, Michael Redman, Alan Ryan, Harry Robbins, Alan Paul Rowley, Gertrude Rosenberg, William Roth, Benjamin Sable, Jack Salkin, Saul Shackett, Ilana Schaefer, Norma Schillen, Diane Schleifer, Solomon Schleifer, Francis Schneiderman, Howard Siegel, Beatrice Semmel, Joel Siegel, Dr. Alexander Silberman, Tilly Sitnick, Hyman Speichler, Florence Stein, Jack Steinberg, Sophie Steiner, Tilly Sugarman, Alex Tourette, Arnold Veroslav, Alan Wien, Mary Wolf, Mary Yari, Golda Zero. And each week we name individually 6 who perished in the Holocaust, not to represent 6 million, but to give 6 each individuals a name. David Steinovitz, Sioma Tabarinsky, Yona Wegmeister, Clara Klebe, Janko Liss, Teresa Clow. Grateful for their memories, we rise as one loving community for the words of the Mourner's Kaddish, which can also be found on page 598. Please rise. Yit Gadal V'yit Kadash Shemei Rabbah Ve'alma Divra Chirutei V'yamlich Malchutei B'chayechon U'vyomechon U'v'chayei Dechol Beit Yisrael Ba'agala U'vizman Kariv Imru Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah Mevarach Le'alam U'lalamei Alamaya Yit Barach V'yishtabach V'yitpa'ar V'yitromam V'yitnaseh V'yit hadar, v'yit aleh, v'yit halal, shemei d'kudsha b'richu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru, amen. Yehei shalama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael, v'imru, amen. Oseh shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'imru. Amen. May the source of peace send peace to those who mourn and comfort to those who are bereaved, as together we say, Amen. Ose shalom bimromav hu ya'aseh shalom. Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru. Amen. Please be seated. Well, the smell of beef franks in this room is almost overwhelming. For those of you who are at home, I wish you could be here to see the little pieces of cotton candy floating through the air as we're about to celebrate Boardwalk Shabbat Oneg. To start off our meal, as it were, we're going to unveil the challah. Please join me in Hamotzi. Hamotzi lechem min haaretz. We give thanks to God for bread. Our voices rise in song together as our prayer is joyfully said. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamotzi lechem min haaretz b'tei avon. There will yet be peace for us and everyone. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam. Salam, salam, aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. We invite you to draw your loved ones near or to put hands over your heart as we bless each other with these ancient words. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. May you be blessed, may you be safe. Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chunecha. May you be luminous, may you be loved. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom. May you be joyous, may you be healthy, may you be whole. Shabbat shalom. And thank you to Ali, and thank you to our ushers and our servers, and may you all be peaceful. Salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam, salam aleinu ve'al kol ha'olam. Salam, salam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu, od yavo shalom aleinu ve'al kulam. Shabbat shalom.